So there's going to be a lot of math going on, I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, no.
There are currently roughly 50 large, spindly, stone crab-like creatures emerging from fissures behind the school, preparing to attack/besiege the Somerville Magnet School. There are just so many. They are running around seemingly mindlessly. They are causing destruction and chaos. So that's where we're at. In terms of how to deal with them, I'm going to get to that. But first, I have a Zlobs-specific bit of information.
Uh-oh.
So, Zlobs, now that you have access to power armor, I should tell you how it works.
Oh, thank God. There's rules?
Yay! Yeah, there's rules. So,
rules.
You are currently wearing a helmet and the armor. Mm-hmm. The helmet and the armor each do different things, so be sure to write this down.
Okay.
The helmet you are wearing is an Insight i5 standard game helmet equipped with scope. That would be your super smart kind of sad AI. Now, Scope living in this helmet right now has more or less ripped out all the software and replaced it with itself. So what Scope is doing as the helmet, so whenever you wear this helmet, you are going to get a +1 to Sharp, a +1 to Charm, and a +1 to read a bad situation.
Oh, great. This is awesome. And the drawback is?
The drawback is the helmets must be worn with a suit.
No, that's fine. That's a great drawback.
So that's your helmet. Your suit is a Cardinal C2 training armor. The Cardinal C2 training armor is just that. It's training armor. The thing that it is best at is reducing harm. So you get a -2 damage reduction when wearing it. So it's very similar to the armor you used to wear. Mm-hmm. You also have one weapon in the suit, and that is your fists. So your damage is 1 harm, and the tag for it is close. You also have a net launcher.
Oh, okay.
The net launcher...
That's 2 weapons.
Yeah, technically. It doesn't do any damage, but you have a net launcher. You would use it with a kick some butt roll. So that's what it does. So in this thing, you can't throw grenades or anything like that. If you got your hands on, say, the Insight i5 standard game armor, that thing is festooned with weaponry. But this is the training armor, so they put, like, a net launcher on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's also very strong, so you could punch with it. Okay, so that's what you've got going on right now. All right. Here's how this session's going to work. The school is essentially besieged by these things. The 4 of you, and your groups by extension, are going to be responsible for saving the school. Everyone at the school that can fight will fight. And that's just going to be happening. This is essentially a mass combat situation. But we are focusing on all of you. So here's how this is going to work. I would recommend writing this down too. Each of you is ultimately going to be responsible for fighting one of these one-on-one. These things, and you know this because Zlobs is on the front line, Scope is feeding information. You have their stats. Each of these things is 9 harm. So that's its life total, is 9 harm. It reduces incoming non-magical damage by 1. So it's got essentially an armor of 1. Its attack, so if you attack it and it does damage back to you, is a 2 harm rending attack. Ooh. So it's just going to come in and rip into you with its giant spiny claws.
Like a render.
Like a render. On a failure. So if you attack it and you fail, and again, partial success and full success, it'll do its damage to you. But on a failure, if you roll a 6 or less, it's still going to do 2 harm, but you will also be hit with a random stat reduction.
Oh.
Essentially, that move is called Calcify. So every time you attack it and fail, you can reduce one of your stats temporarily by 1. You have to. I'll let you choose, so it's not entirely random. But you're going to have to reduce a stat by 1 until a time that is not in this session that I will determine. This is not just like a temporary like smack. Like this thing is essentially poisoning your central nervous system.
The stat reduction is going to last more than one episode?
It will continue more than today. Yeah.
Frightening. Okay.
Woof.
So again, 9 harm, 1 non-magical armor, 2 harm rend attack, and on a failure, it does that, but also you have to reduce one of your stats. Now, here's how everything is going to happen. All of the other clubs are mustering their forces, getting people together, defending their parts of the school in their own way. But, and the camera's not on them. The camera's on you. So here's what's going to happen to determine how effective your clubs are. Each of your clubs, this is the first roll you all make. Each of your clubs will roll a vibes check. On a failure, on the vibes check, don't roll it just yet. On a failure, your base within the school is destroyed and will need to be rebuilt.
No.
On a partial, your club defends its base and confers upon you +1 on any roll you want when you're fighting your individual monster. On a full success, your club will do something to weaken all of your monsters. And there is a specific one for each club. I will tell you about it only if you get the full success. But I will give you the names. If Mindy rolls a 10+ on the vibes check, the hall monitors will do something called rapid reaction. If the umpires get if Zlobs rolls a 10+ on vibes, the umpires get confer something called home field. If the fictitious government society gets a vibes check, if Morgan rolls a 10+, their skill's called war effort. And if Darby rolls a 10+ for literary society will confer something called inspiration.
Ooh.
Serp, you really thought about this session.
I really did. So I'll describe to you kind of what's going on before you make these rolls. Zlobs, you are kind of standing alone in power armor, kind of looking out at a sea of these things, galloping with their long, bony, spindly, rocky legs, really just in a wave towards you and the school behind you. Let's have you roll 2d6 plus cool +1 to read a bad situation. Mm-hmm. This will affect the narrative a little bit.
Oh, thank you. Cool +1? Oh my god. Mm-hmm. This is great. That's a 12.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to give you the whole story. These things are not used to being above ground. And so they're kind of charging for whatever big structure they see, and that thing is the school. You could tell based on how they're approaching and galloping that that's what they want. For whatever reason, they want to get into the school and do some kind of damage to it. Tear it down, destroy it. You don't know if they're necessarily doing it with malice or doing it out of some kind of animal instinct because they... essentially their home had the roof torn off of it. but you know that they're making for the school. You yourself cannot hold the line here. So you kind of pull back and kind of spread this information to everybody. The various kind of organizations all kind of disperse and start setting their defenses. Some people are fighting out on the ball field. Others are kind of heading into the school and sealing up the doors. This is essentially going to be a siege. So all of you and your clubs are kind of doing their own things right now. Before I have all of you roll vibes checks, I want each of you to just narrate out, what you and your club are kind of doing in this war zone. Whoever has a good idea can go first.
The Fictitious Government Society is really showing what people are made of right now. And that some of the members are scattering as fast as they possibly can. And some of them are trying to inspire, are trying to talk about how important it is to save the school.
Yeah, so you all head out kind of amongst yourselves. Some kind of panicking and doing nothing. Others serving as somewhere between commissioned officers and chaplains, just trying to get to where the fighting is, inspire, coordinate, aid in logistics. So, yeah, Morgan, you are on the front lines. There are knots of people fighting these things in hallways. Like one of them bursts through a door and a bunch of them start streaming in. So, you're there in a knot of people holding. So that's what the Fictitious Government Society is doing. What else is going on?
In the library, we have convened and we've been just ripping paper out of notebooks and folding it into like when you fold them into notes. And then a member has been imbuing them with magic so that when you throw these little folded paper notes, they become like razor blades. Mm-hmm. And so we've just been stockpiling them to be able to, because they're like mini little weapons that a lot of people can have.
Yep. So yeah, there's essentially a munitions factory in the library. You're there, you're folding, you're blessing, other people are hitting it with magic. Daddy'll father is there with you, kind of like boldly declaring that it is, of great value to cherish your prior drafts and then cast them away in favor of something better, and the iterative nature of writing. And that is simultaneously very lovely to hear and just like a tiny bit distracting because you're trying to make weapons. Cool. What else is going on?
The hall monitors are somewhat split because some of them have gone directly to combat with the invading creatures, but some of them, or most of them really, have kind of started directing other students out of the building or to safe parts of the building. So any students that aren't fighting or that need to get out of the craters kind of being caused by the creatures are being pulled out by hall monitors and directed to safe areas.
Yep. Lisa Lemon Wedge and a couple of the other senior hall monitors are more or less moving war refugees at this point. They're running them in groups. Lisa Lemon Wedge is, kind of putting down fire and moving people. The other hall monitors are too. You and Susie Chen are... you're trying to figure out, like, well, where am I best used? And it's at that point that Susie Chen, runs by with just a length of pipe and a machine gun, just like taking off down a hallway in that direction. You start kind of going in that direction. You see her get hurled like 20 feet backwards. And you kind of run, you're facing one of these things, you're trying to hit it with psychic stuff. So you and Susie Chen are kind of in a hallway choke point trying to stop these things from coming while, students are like running out of the building behind you led by the other hall monitors.
Yep.
And Zlobs, what are the umpires doing?
The umpire cadets are currently taking advantage of what's left out during one of a class that we all have as freshmen, Introduction to Small Arms and Ordnance. And today's flamethrower day, so the umpire cadets are taking advantage of that and trying to form a defensive perimeter with flamethrowers around the school.
Yep. That is exactly what happens. Like the umpires, as is their wont, are, in the thick of it, trying to cook these things with flamethrowers. So you've got like a knot of them. Slam Seismic is here. She, you're like, there's like 3 or 4 umpires that are all like blasting the field with flames, trying to keep these things back. It's working because it's making them uncomfortable, but as these things are mostly rock, they are advancing. It's at this point that Slam Seismic emerges from the secure secure umpire's bunker in her armor from Chincoteague and proceeds to, with a single punch, smash one of these things about 5 feet into the air and onto its back like a crab before 3 of them jump on her and start trying to punch its way through the armor. So chaotic time for everybody. All right. Now, it's time for every group to roll their vibes. Let's start with the Literary Society.
And it's just straight 2d6.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, plus vibes.
Yeah,
Plus
I
your
don't have any
vibes.
vibes. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Can I roll again? Got a 5.
Oh no.
I really thought I was gonna get a 12. I had such a good feeling.
It's called humorous.
All right.
Coach, can I roll again? I thought I would do better.
I will tell you.
No.
I will tell you what inspiration would have been.
Oh.
If the Literary
rub it in.
Society would have succeeded, the creatures would no longer have damage reduction. Okay.
Nice to have that.
Let's go Fictitious Government Society.
All right. Can I use my high school patriot, whatever the PATRICIATE once per session +1 to vibes?
That is why it is there. High School Patrician. So you get a +1 to vibes for Fictitious Government.
I didn't even need it. That's going to be an 11.
Good news. Because of the Fictitious Government Society's war effort skill, these creatures are now 8 harm instead of 9 harm.
Oh.
We have a strong home front.
You do
that's
indeed.
excellent.
All right. Umpires next.
Boom. 4.
Wow. Feast or famine.
Truly.
Oh.
4.
Yeah. So what happens if a majority of these get destroyed? The school gets destroyed?
Oh, no. The results for the school depend on how many of you are knocked out.
Oh.
Okay.
Finally, the hall monitors.
All right. 2d6 plus vibes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 12.
Okay.
Feast or famine?
Okay.
Nicely done. All right. The hall monitors' rapid reaction works like this. At any point, each of you can heal 1 harm.
Oh.
Just as a freebie. As
Each hall monitor?
So, no, the 4 of you.
Oh.
So all of you get like a bonus 1 harm that you can erase at any point you want.
Amazing.
So like a hall
Oh,
monitor
that's good.
shows up at exactly the right time.
Yes. Hall monitors are always prepared with a first aid kit.
That is what they do. So, all right,
Game Master?
Yes.
What would Zlobs? What would have the?
That's right.
The what have happened?
Home field. The creatures would have lost their stat reduction power.
No, the dangerous one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's kind of describe what happens. The umpire battle line, is kind of in a blister around the umpire's bunker. Eventually the flames just stop working. Like the flamethrowers are running out of gas. The magic is being exhausted. Slam Seismic has now a hole the size of a melon in the middle of her armor, and like bits of her are falling out. So you kind of call an orderly retreat back, and these things swarm into your bunker, and the armored bunker just collapses on itself. So that's a mess. You're pretty sure they're now underground, chewing their way to your locker room. So it's tough. Kind of that whole wing of the school is now besieged. A number of these things are crawling up the side of the building, and punching through the windows of the library. Darby, you would guess it's because they're sensing magic up here and they're drawn to it. And sure enough, these things just swarm the library. And in a flurry of bony, spiny claws, they just start shredding the shelves and tossing things over and ripping up the couches.
They've been here for decades.
Indeed. So the battle is now just taking place in there. Okay. So now, it's time for individual combat. So we're just going to start with someone, and we're going to rotate through and seeing how things go. I should say, however, let me tell you exactly kind of what now, all right. If any of you are knocked out, there will be a consequence directly related to you.
Oh.
If at least 2 of you survive and not get knocked out, the school will be closed for a few days, but no more. If 3 of you are knocked out, then the school will be closed until the day of Arno the player's surprise. If all 4 of you are knocked out, we are going to jump ahead in time more than 1 week.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say year.
All right.
What happens if we all...
We are going to jump ahead in time 5 years.
Yeah. Up to 2 of you could be knocked out, and the school would probably... school would be open next day or the day after. So, things are getting destroyed, but the school will be open for the bell.
And then there will just be personal consequences.
Yes, and there are personal consequences. I probably shouldn't tell you what they are unless you want to know.
Personal consequences outside of the game.
Because
John Serpico won't come to our parties anymore.
I personally will extract a cost from each of the players.
We get Venmo requests.
Yeah, there'll be a Venmo request for $10 from each of you.
That's the cost of 1 hoagie.
Yep. I've calculated that for a reason. So if again, one of you passes out, gets knocked out, there will be a consequence related to that. If multiple of you do, in addition to those consequences, there will be something for the school. Okay, who's going first?
I would like to summon my army.
Yeah, that's fair.
I am just watching all of this history being destroyed. So I draw my sword, I raise it up, and I yell, "Warriors of Heaven, I summon you, and now!"
And
Get here now.
yeah, the room is immediately filled with blinding light. To the point where other people in the literary society think that perhaps the roof has been ripped off because suddenly it gets 50 times brighter. But no, it's just the fact that angels are falling from the sky and materializing in the library. So let's roll 2d6 plus tough and tell me what you get.
I got a 13.
Aha! Best possible outcome. Okay. On a 10 plus, a host of angels join you, giving you and your party +1 on all kick some butt rolls. And also, Darby, your sword now does 4 harm, not 3. So, yeah, in a, like a burst of holy energy, the sword is burning in multiple colors. The angels appear. There is a choir, both beautiful and terrifying. The great eyes of heaven open up, and all of a sudden, all of these angelic beings are just in the library. Zlobs, Mindy, and Morgan, wherever you are, all of a sudden you feel like, and you hear echoing in your mind a chorus of heaven.
Nice.
And yeah, you see in the corner of your eyes flashes of light and flickers of holy. So all of you are similarly ready for combat. Okay, Darby, that is your turn. Let's go to Morgan next. We'll go clockwise.
Okay. I'm looking around and it's interesting seeing Stephen Bland come to life in a moment of crisis. He's suddenly transformed from a boring politician teacher to like speeches and rally cries. But he's not really doing anything.
No, I mean, he cuts quite a dashing figure at minimum, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's very inspiring word, but it's not calling anyone to action. I look at Franklin Coin, who's hiding behind some lab equipment, and I see that Franklin Coin is sitting or hiding next to a spoil of copper wire.
Yep.
So I would like Franklin, throw me the spoil of copper wire.
Yeah, all right. Let's have you, Morgan, roll. What do you want to do with this copper wire? I'll put it to you that way.
I want to break it open, throw it down the hall, and charge it.
Gotcha. So so I'm gonna have that be a kick some butt roll with aid from Franklin Coin. So let's have you essentially roll to see if you can aid yourself. So why don't you give me a 2d6 plus charm roll? That's you essentially inspiring Franklin to do it. I'm going to give you a -1 because Franklin's terrified.
Oh, okay. Hold on. -1, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 8.
Okay, so partial success. All right, so yeah, Franklin kind of gets up, hurls the copper spool to you. You proceed to unravel it and roll it down the hall. The consequence is depending on your role. I assume you're going to use combat magic for this.
Yep.
Yeah, if you take damage, Franklin Coin will also take damage.
Okay, cool.
So combat magic. So 2d6 plus weird to kick some butt. You get a +1 from the angels and a +1 from Franklin Coin.
Oh, yay. Okay, that's 13.
Oh, good heavens. All right. So now I assume because you're aiming, there's this creature, it's kind of hovering over it. I'm going to assume that you're going to use your missile power. So that's 1 harm. The effect is lightning, so that's 2 harm. And because you rolled a 13 on a kick some butt roll, you've got some options. You deal double damage, so that'd be 4. You take no damage in return. All sunflowers gain a +1 on their next roll, or the target flees. I'm taking target flees off just because there are 50 of these things. So you're gonna either deal double damage, take no damage, or every sunflower gets a +1 on their next roll.
I think the spirit of that was that I was throwing coil out into the hallway to sort of like keep them pained away from us, so no harm.
Perfect. Yeah, so you all are going to keep track of the damage to your own here. Though, I'll do the same. What the heck? All right, so Morgan, so yours is at 6. So yeah, sure enough, you roll the thing down the hall. This thing is, charging for you and a bunch of cowering politicians behind you. And sure enough, you throw this thing and light it up like it's a big Tesla coil. And so it starts arcing with electrical energy. This thing kind of steps on it, rears back. It smashes through the drop ceilings because it's like flailing wildly. Franklin Coin kind of looks at you, thumbs up, and then gets back to hiding. All right, Mindy, you're up.
Okay, I have just been surveying my character sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start with some questions. Number 1, I'm still fighting from the parking lot, right?
You could fight from wherever you want to fight.
Parking lot sounds perfect.
Yep.
And,
So in the parking lot.
Susie is still nearby.
Yeah, Susie has, you went out to the parking lot because there are some out there. You're fighting them. Mm-hmm. Susie emerges from one of the doors to the parking lot, holding one of these creatures' legs and swinging it like a bat. So yeah, okay. Susie's that way, but you kind of nod to each other, and yeah, sure enough, boom, there you are in the parking lot.
And the flags are still overhead.
Flags are still overhead.
The lines of flags.
Mm-hmm.
Could Susie help me?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. I think I have a plan. I think I've got a plan. I think this is a good plan. I'm going to ask Susie to launch me into the air so that I can grab on to the flags overhead. I need an aerial shot, I think, to make this happen quick enough without getting swiped by this thing. But if I can grab hold of the flags and swing around the monster, then I can grab my canister of Wormwood V2 rock melt, spray it in a circle around the monster, hopefully drop it down to a lower level so that I have it a bit trapped to concentrate my mental energy.
That's one of the coolest things I ever heard.
This is such a Zlobs move. Holy
yeah, that is powerful Mindy Mathers strategy.
I'm strategizing. I'm trying to create a plan, and I'm doing this in a really I've thought this through.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I love it. So first and foremost, this will expend the canister of Wormwood rock melt, so you'll remove that. Okay. Yeah, this is ultimately going to be... this is ultimately going to be a kick some butt roll.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Let's see.
I wouldn't say I'm really acting under pressure because I thought it through so much.
Yeah, all right. I agree.
Counterpoint is one of the coolest things ever.
It is admittedly incredibly cool. Okay. This is so cool, in fact, that Susie just succeeds. Susie's like, yeah, you got it.
Susie, launch me, Susie.
So she kind of runs up.
Yeah.
Kind of slams the leg into the ground.
Perfect.
Kind of like the 10-finger launch.
Yeah.
You run towards her.
Style.
Yep. You jump. You kind of foot into her hands. She throws you 5 vertical feet in the air.
Yes,
you reach out, grab, boom, flagpole, scamper up. Act under pressure, 2d6 plus cool. Yeah, and a +1 from Susie Chen because that was so cool. She automatically succeeds in helping you. 2d6 plus cool.
2d6 plus cool +1.
Yes.
Okay. That is a 0.
Oh no!
Oh no! Wait. How's that?
Is that a first 0 ever? Oh no!
Hold on. No, that's not true because I have a +1 from Susie, so it is
Yes.
a 1.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Oh, phew. Wait, did you roll a 2?
I rolled a 2 minus cool is 0. Plus Susie's help would be a solid 1.
All right. Well, the good news. This is
Use
the
my
only good
rock
news.
melt for nothing.
I'm gonna let you keep the rock melt.
Oh, great. Okay, I get hurt
so-
before the rock melt.
Yeah, so you kind of scramble up the flag. You're perched on the flagpole like a superhero. You take out the rock melt. And this thing, when it stands on its hind legs, its front legs can kind of fire off like a piston 15 feet into the air. Like, this thing just has more reach than you thought it did. You get impaled through the calf.
Ow.
And so you take 2 harm and then take any one of your stats and temporarily reduce it by 1.
Jeez. Wow. Okay. Okay, I wish I thought about this before. I have 2 harm. I'm impaled through the calf. And I will gosh, I'm gonna need my cool. I'm gonna need my tough. I'll take down I'll take down sharp.
All right. Yeah, just make a temporary note that your sharp has been reduced.
Okay.
Your brain has been calcified.
I'm like not as smart as usual.
Yeah, the second this thing kind of stabs you through the leg, you get this instant feeling of, I mean, 1, searing pain, and 2, immediately you have a fever.
Oh,
Like within seconds, it's like you went from, 0 to day 2 of the worst flu you've ever had. So yeah, like everything is hot, everything sucks. You are still on the flagpole, but things are bad. Zlobs.
Yeah, my calf is impaled.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, on top of everything.
And I'm dumber.
Slightly. Yes.
Ugh. It's terrible. This is a horror game after all.
It is.
Ugh. All right. Well, Zlobs, seeing them spell out from a place, using his tactical genius brain, sees the situation, and he's going to try to cut them off from the source. So he's going to dance his way through all these creatures and jump down the hole and try to cut them off from the stem. Like any weed, you got to take them out from the root.
Yep. So you end up kind of powering through the field towards the biggest fissure and kind of jump down to, probably 20 feet below the surface. And sure enough, like the fissure opened wide enough that there's like a hole at the bottom of the fissure big enough for like one of these things at a time to come through. And sure enough, there is one in there right now, and it is scrambling up when you're scrambling down. So you're in position to kind of do battle with yours in the fissure. So what do you want to do to it?
I want to it's coming up, I'm coming down. So we're just going to let, as a wise teacher once said, always assume a perfect sphere in physics, but never assume a perfect sphere in life. So we're going to just pound this thing back into the ground. We're going back where it came. Return to sender, baby.
Gotcha. So, let's see. So you don't want to do, essentially, how's this going to work?
Epically.
Yeah, ideally. Because what's going to happen is you're going to need to kill one of these things, like, for you. You could you could do it with a kick some butt. The only problem is you kind of need to get a full success to do more damage because you're doing one harm at a time in this suit.
Mm-hmm.
So kick some butt. Tell me what you get.
Okay, and I have an angel, right?
You do. So a +1 on top of your kick some butt.
Well, woohoo. We got, oh, thank goodness for the angel. We got a 10. Can I, Darby, who is this angel?
Oh, Lila. She's one of the reckless angels.
Lila the what?
Oh, Lila the larcenous.
The larcenous? Zlobs' favorite. Lila the larcenous. Let's go, Lila.
Yeah, Lila the larcenous, is there, angel wings wrapped around your shoulder, the jingling of this grand 3-dimensional necklace that she wears, just covered in random things she's stolen from the mortal world. Bits of charms, gold coins from empires long forgotten, like an eye from a teddy bear, like all sorts of random stuff. There's a chicken bone on there. And you kind of hear that and it's rattling around. So yeah, so on a 10+, you can do 1 additional damage. I would recommend, 1 additional damage, or I would let you do any of them. So 1 additional damage, take 1 less damage, which you don't need because you have armor damage reduction. Mm-hmm. +1 on your next roll, or you put the target right where you want it.
Oh, I'll put it right where I want it. Back in its vulnerable home.
Got it. So Zlobs, you kind of punch it, not hard enough to damage it, but hard enough to kind of plug the hole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I keep punching it. I'm like a jackhammer.
Boom, 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 boom. So you're kind of smashing it such that it's not moving, it's not attacking you, nor is it getting any reinforcements behind it. So the way I will have this manifest is as such. You can take other actions instead of attacking it, and you won't do damage to it, and it won't do damage to you. Essentially, you have it in a headlock, and you're just punching it. Yeah. So you can do other things until such time as you say, I want to attack it again. And then we reset the clock. So that's where you're at. So you can do any number of things while this thing is getting noogied hard. Darby, back to you. What do you want to do?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to use my armor breaker skill so that I can more, just make it not a more even fight. So I'm going to hide behind one of the racks of books that's fallen down, and then jump out at one of them and then come down on it with the hilt of my sword, which is my armor breaker move.
Yep. Is that on your sheet?
It is. Yes, it is. Page 2 on the left.
Page 2 on the left.
Below holy armor.
I think I've been looking at the wrong character sheet of yours.
Oh, yes, I don't see you on here, so...
Forever?
Maybe forever. Would you mind sending me the link? Just so I have that, because I'm like, armor breaker. How does that work again? And I don't know. Perfect.
Send it to the chat so everyone can make whatever changes they want.
For sure.
Just add some stuff to some stuff. Darby said, wow, look at this thing. Nice. There's all kinds of cool stuff on here. Wow. All right. Let's find page 2. It's it's under there. Holy armor breaker. Yeah. All right. Cool. Okay. So 2d6 plus tough +1, and tell me what you get.
That'll be a 14.
Okay. So on a 10+, you destroy 2 ranks of armor on it, so your thing now no longer has armor. And on the 12 plus, you destroy all the armor and inflict harm on it. With your sword is 4. That is unreducible damage.
It's down to 4.
Yeah,
Don't mess with the couches.
Reduce it by half. Describe in grand and holy detail what exactly happens here.
So there's this one that is just, it is in the former stacks, and it's not even paying attention to all the students. It is somehow, even with its big, somehow, I don't even know how it's dissected, it is peeling apart books. It is ripping them apart. Just total disrespect. So Darby crouches behind one of the racks of books near it, and then leaps over it, wings spread out because there is a gaping hole above her, and then comes down, and there's other angels bringing light around her. And then she just comes down with her sword and slams it in, while also taking a grand pose, and lingers there for a little while beneath her feet it squirms, and lets go of all of the books.
Yes.
And then she also just grabs a couch cushion and hits it in the head.
Yeah. The so
It's also flaming holy energy.
Yep. Yeah, the couch cushion imbued with the great holy song of war. All of this happens precisely as you describe it. Across the library, holding a tiny crossbow, is
Yes.
Toodle-Hoo, who looks up and sees all of this happen. The light, the scream, the explosion, the armor bursting away like the lid off a tuna can,
Okay.
the pose, like the big brass wings, the angelic choir, like the hair whipping in the breeze, the floating eyes. I should write about this. Yeah, so sure enough, the tides may be turning in the library. All right, Morgan.
We can't hear you, Morgan.
Sorry, I was scared for a moment.
Yeah, we all are.
Okay, I look to Steven and I sort of like tug at his suit.
Candidate Woodstock.
Professor, okay, I've laid an electrical parameter and I'd like to start a ritual spell. Can you make sure everyone is safe? Can you hold them back while I work on this ritual spell?
Before I was administrator, I was a Blittle Leaguer. He rips the top off the dais and puts it on his arm like a shield and kind of charges forward. All right, ritual spell. What do you want to do?
I want to cast a spell that I've been learning because I've been sort of afraid of insects. Dissolves chitin.
All righty. Okay, so ritual spell. Let's see. Let's see if you can just use magic instead. No, it's not a trap. You want to destroy its armor.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this will be a ritual. It will be a 1-turn ritual. So you're gonna do it right now because you are trying to remove its protection. You need to like the ritual aspect here. Let's see. You're gonna need. The requirement will be you need to destroy something of yours on your character sheet that will allow this. So something that you have, you can destroy to do this, or you could destroy something of value in this room, like something of value to the school, but it'd be a -1 on your weird check.
Yeah, I gotta do that.
Morgan's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. So, yeah, you grab something in this room that is of value. Do you have an idea, or you want me to give
I've
to
got
give
it.
you one?
Yeah, it's a plaque for one of the teachers, and they're Teacher of the Year award for the Boston area schools.
I'll take it a step further. If it is Professor Bland's Teacher of the Year award, you do not get a -1 to this roll.
It's Professor Bland's.
Gotcha. Yes. Give me a 2d6 plus weird spell. If it works, it's going to destroy this thing's armor, and on a full success, I'll let you do damage to it as well.
That is, I believe, a 11 again?
Oh, good gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so describe what this ritual looks like.
Cool. So I take so I asked Professor, please watch everyone. And then I run into the room looking for something of value, and then I see the award, and I grab it, and I run out, and I put it in both of my hands, and I make direct eye contact with Professor Bland, and watch his heart break a little bit as I slowly melt it into dust. Of which point I slap it, and it floats up into the air and casts a powder residue that fills up the hallway, most of which doesn't affect everyone, but affects Kayleigh.
Yep. So this thing this spell kind of spreads out. The chitinous armor just starts, kind of sloughing off of this thing in these big, like, soggy sheets. It looks like wet cardboard, like peeling off a box. And this is so acrid and so caustic that you will do one more harm to it as well. Because this ritual was so impressive, there are people in the room that kind of look at you and just are like, "Oh, all right," because sure enough, like, other of these things are like trying to approach the amphitheater, and they kind of get their front 2 feet in, and then the armor starts falling off, and then they retreat. So very impressive, and you do 1 harm to it. And it does not do damage to you because that was a magic spell instead of a kick some butt. All right, Mindy, you're up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. So I'm on top of the flagpole. Can I double check? So I still have a chitinous spike in my calf.
Yeah, like a bit of it snapped off kind of in your calf.
Perfect. I'm going to leave that there. Might be useful later, but for now, it's going to stay in the calf. I'm going to wrap my other leg around the top of the flagpole and link my arm around it so that I have a little balance, and take my crossbow off my back. I think I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I'm still up on this flagpole and probably won't be able to maintain that for much longer, and take a shot down onto the creature.
That is fair.
Can I take a look and see if there's any part of it that looks more vulnerable to something like a crossbow bolt?
Yeah, sure. That's going to be... I'll let you roll 2d6 plus sharp
Okay.
And on a full success, I'll put you this way. On a partial success, you'll get a +1 to your attack roll. On a full success, you'll get a +1 directly to the damage roll.
Yes. Okay, cool. Love that. Love that. That is going to be an 11.
Oh, okay.
Even with reduced sharp. -1 to my sharp and still smarter than you.
Pretty smart.
I think Nana should have a bumper sticker that says, "My human experiment is smarter than your honors student."
I'm just saying that if someone makes that bumper sticker, I'm going to buy 5.
merch idea.
It's gonna be a merch
idea. So yeah, you kind of size this thing up. You realize most of the armor is like front and top. So you're waiting for this thing to kind of reach out and stretch, and that's when you can fire. So there's going to be a kick some butt roll, 2d6 plus tough, +1 for the angels. And if you hit, you're going to do bonus damage.
Yes. Okay. Come on, tough. Come on, crossbow. Okay, that'll be an 8.
All right, so partial success. I'm going to say that the crossbow does as much as the hunting rifle. It's a two harm weapon.
Yeah, because it doesn't say how much my crossbow does. It just says a crossbow he on my character sheet.
Indeed, yeah. For sake of it, it's going to be a 2, meaning you've done 3 damage to it just now. It's going to do 2 damage back to you.
Okay.
But yeah, this thing, you kind of fire a bolt directly into its like thorax, and it starts kind of like twitching and smashing the flagpole. It's like a tuning fork, so you're kind of wobbling up there.
And so that'll do 3 damage with the damage bonus.
Yep. So 3 damage to the thing, and you get 2 damage in return.
And just for fun, I am unstable.
Indeed. As a reminder to you and everybody else, you can reduce your harm by 1 at any point you want because of the hall monitor's rapid reaction.
I'm gonna save it for now, just because I'm afraid.
Zlobs. So, as a reminder, you are currently headlocking, noogieing this thing. So you can do anything you want, and this thing won't harm you, or you can attack it again and go from there.
Well, obviously, the power is fun. It's fun to punch this thing, but I know it's not working. It's, I can't wait till I unlock the full power, but I want to see if I can get some like leverage or height. I really want to channel my inner wrestler and just perform the setting sun on this thing and just like pick it and just bring it down on something.
Gotcha. So I'll let you do that for free if you don't want it to do any damage. And you could do something else. If you want to do damage by doing that, that would be kick some butt. Your choice. So do you want it to be an awesome narrative thing that looks super badass, or do you want to try to hurt it?
If I do this narrative thing that looks pretty cool, can I also read a bad situation to kind of figure
Absolutely,
out,
you can.
Like what can I do to this thing with my current stuff?
Sure. All right. So read a bad situation. That would be for you 2d6 plus cool, +1 because scope is feeding you telemetry data.
14.
Good heavens. Okay. So you can ask 3 of the questions off of the read a bad situation list, or 1 question phrased however you would like.
How can I quickly destroy this thing and like just decimate it?
Okay. I'll give you.
I want to squish this nerd in its home.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 options. I'll give you a few. 1, you literally bail the suit, grab grenades, and blow this thing up in the fissure, which will expose you to damage. It'll be a bunch of rolls. Or a lot of people that enter the umpire training program, sometimes they do so for the wrong reasons. Sometimes they get a hold of armor and the power goes to their head. And in the cases like that, the umpire instructor can trigger the suit to eject its umpire and detonate its core battery.
Oh.
So that
Oh.
you are a scope, essentially, because it's scope in here instead of like umpire targeting data, is like, oh, that's interesting. I can overload its core very fast. You'd be thrown very far, but I think this thing will go up like a fireball.
Oh, that's pretty tempting. I assume I can hold on to the helmet and keep that.
Yeah. You just kind of clutch onto that and get launched like a football.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Scope, that's the coolest thing you've ever suggested. I think I might be rubbing off on you.
Well, it makes sense that you put me somewhere I like and then snatch it away, but I get it.
Oh.
Yeah, easy come, easy go, but I've also tasted this power, and oh boy, do I like it.
Shall I overload the core, sir?
Let's do this.
Okay.
Oh, but Scope, I promise you, I will find another way to get the power armor.
I know you will. I'll just get used to the car again.
Okay, good.
Hates that car.
The tire pressure is so low. Like, Scope is telling you this while you feel an unbelievable amount of heat growing in your back. All right. Here's how this is going to go, because this is a giant, uncontrollable explosion.
This is my helmet, baby.
I love it. You're going to roll 2d6 flat.
Mm-hmm.
That 2d6 is the amount of damage that it's going to do to this creature. -1 because of its armor, but if you roll a 7, you're doing 6 damage to it.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to add more damage on, but for every 1 more damage you do to it, it does 1 damage to you.
Can you do this before or after the roll?
After.
After? Okay, great. Let's go, baby. Woo! 5.
Okay. So you roll a 5.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is going to blow up and do 5 damage to the creature, or 4 damage after you reduce its armor.
Mm-hmm.
For you to destroy this creature right now...
I've already taken 4 harm.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Hold on. And with that, you are consumed in a giant, thudding, metal-rending explosion in a hole. Zlobs, you are hurled through the air. Both of your eardrums are blown out.
What?
And you are flying head over heels through space and time. The thing that saves you. Yeah. Well, time slows down and maybe speeds up.
No. Zlobs has been through time.
That's true. That would not be your first time you were hurled through time. The thing that saves you from a skull fracture is the helmet, because you land like a lawn dart 30 feet away.
I want to land somewhere very comical. Chat, tell me where Zlobs lands.
Yeah, chat. Wherever you say Zlobs lands, that's where he lands.
At first, like a hell diver.
Yeah.
Help us.
Oh my
National.
Oh, I love where McSplodey's head is at.
Also, Zlobs is not a favorite one. National New Hampshire.
Yeah.
He crossed state lines.
That is probably the most comedic place.
You would leave atmosphere and re-enter in Nashua. No, I love headfirst into the library, so that's what's gonna happen.
Oh, good.
So Zlobs, you fire off like a shot, like a mortar. You go smashing through a window. You land on a couch with no cushions up there, and you look up. Scope's in there. You could hear like his little voice, but like the helmet's useless. The power's off, so you take it off. What you see up here, Zlobs, is chaos. Darby, what you see is Zlobs bleeding from both of his ears.
Oh no. I'm gonna make him feel real better by being really cool right now.
Indeed, you're up.
Okay, so I'm still riding this thing on top of it. So I'm gonna do a reverse sword in the stone. So I'm just gonna flip it over, point down, and just right into it.
All right, I love it. 2d6 plus tough, please.
Oh, it's gonna be another 14. Wait, actually, technically, it's a 15.
Must be nice.
Sure.
Must be nice to be tough.
So, Darby, describe what this looks like.
So Darby's she's been working with the skateboard a little bit. So she's, even though this thing is like writhing and trying to get out from under her, she is surfing it. And as soon as she sees Zlob come down, she's inspired. And so she flips the sword up since it was hilt down, and she grabs it and she just imbues it with as much holy energy as she can, so it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. She's almost engulfed in flames, and then she just slowly sinks it down into this thing right in the middle, and it's just shaking, and then collapses. Yeah,
with a bunch of like milky white eyes are trying to focus on you, and they don't, and this thing dies.
I want to say, as Darby's doing this, Zlob lands in the crouch, and he just lands, and just goes, out!
Ouch!
Did you both kill your guys already?
Oh, sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not even halfway there.
So, Darby, with the, it was a kick some butt roll. You got a 12 plus.
Oh, no.
I'm going to assume you want to take no damage. Because just your base damage is enough to kill it.
Yeah.
So, or all sunflowers gain +1 on their next roll. That might be valuable too. So you would take some damage, and then
I'll take damage, and then everybody can get another +1.
Gotcha. So it does 2 damage to you minus your armor. So this thing, like in its kind of death throes, kind of spears you through the side with one of its like chitinous claws. And you kind of wince, but this thing kind of comes apart on you. Zlobs calls it out, and it is. Lila, the larcenous, kind of giggles through a series of eyes, approaches this thing, snaps off a tiny bit of its armor, and then returns to behind Zlobs. All right, Darby and Zlobs, you have destroyed yours and lived. Okay, Morgan, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to run. I would like to run to the cafeteria and return with the cheese devil.
Is that still here? Oh god. What's the status of the cheese devil?
That thing away
Well,
from me.
Was it ever activated?
No, it was never activated.
Due to a peculiarity of the ritual, since it was a partial success, it would activate if Zlobs took a bite of a sandwich or started bleeding.
Oh no, he's bleeding from his ears.
So, Morgan, you kind of have sealed off.
I forgot about that. No, why didn't it? Hold on, why wasn't that in part of your recap, Serp?
Drama. So, Morgan, you've kind of sealed off the politicians from harm. You head down like a service hallway, sprint down to the cafeteria, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, cheese devil, all right, it's in the ritual totem, I gotta get that. all I need is for Zlobs not to have bled in the last 5 minutes. And sure enough, the second you open the cafeteria, the cheese devil has started a fire. And like the kitchen's burning. The cheese devil is like laughing and spitting out chunks of Parmesan and flipping over tables. So yeah, you're in here with a cheese devil.
I'm gonna point at the cheese. I'm gonna point at the cheese devil and say, you know what doesn't go with seafood? Cheese. Follow me. Because it's a crab.
Oh,
So
okay.
you want to command it. Which, I mean, the sheer audacity is why I will let you roll this.
Wouldn't it want something that pairs with cheese?
So yeah,
it wants to destroy it because it doesn't go with cheese. It's mad at the
yeah. I mean
yeah.
I mean, unless you get good, and I mean good shrimp Parmesan, cheese and fish do not go well. So if anyone wants any recommendations on where to get a real good shrimp parm, you let me know. But for now, yeah, you run in and essentially you're like, this cheese devil is like an agent of chaos. However, it was my ritual. I'm appealing to the angels of its better nature. So I will let you roll a 2d6 charm roll to
+1.
+1. Yep, because of Darby, +1. To allow you to command the cheese devil.
That is a 12.
Oh.
Good gravy. All right.
Remember when you were like, if more than 2 you get hurt, you're gonna have school problems, and we were like, okay,
Sounds good.
yeah, only one of us is gonna get hurt, and it's gonna be Mindy.
Yep. All right. Let me give you the stats on the cheese devil.
Wait, did you have stats for the cheese devil?
Yeah, I got stats on the cheese devil.
You really did prepare a lot.
All right. The cheese devil has 5 harm of life.
Oh my god.
It does 2 harm in damage.
I'm sorry, John. It's 2 parm.
5 parm in life, 2 parm in damage. What that means, and also in terms of its kick some butt, it always rolls with +3. So what you can do is you can have this thing fight for you from here on out if you want, or you can have it aid you. Whatever you want, we'll decide next turn. Mindy, you're up.
Okay, so while I was on break, I Googled what's a crab's weakness?
Mm-hmm.
And Google said climate change.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't see how that helps me. I'm going to slide down the flagpole because I'm becoming fatigued from my skewered calf muscle. Once I'm back on the ground, I think I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to sit down on the ground. I'm going to steady myself, take a deep breath, and I'm going to finally dive into this crab's mind. I think it's time for me to go into the monster's mind, do what I do best, and just kind of microwave its brain cells and see what comes out.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. All right, that's going to be a mental storm. So, yep, your mind is a weapon. It's going to do gruesome harm to monsters. So, kick some butt, 2d6 plus weird.
2d6 plus weird.
+1 from Darby, +1 from the angels.
How could this fail? Okay, 2d6 plus weird is going to be 11.
Good
with
gravy.
those twos, with those 2
Yes.
pluses.
Okay, so this is a kick some butt roll with on a 10 plus. So on a 10 plus,
Yeah.
you can do 3 damage to it and it does 2 damage to you. Mm-hmm. Or you can do 2 damage to it and it does 1 damage to you. It'll be those 2 options. So it'll either be extra damage to it and 2 to you, or 2 damage to it and 1 less to you.
I will take the extra damage and do extra damage.
Alrighty. So
That's going to put me pretty close.
Got it. All right. So yeah, you sit on the ground and kind of get comfortable and close your eyes. The entire time, like, Susie is fighting one of these on her own, and she like instinctually looks back up at the flagpole, and you're gone. And then she like turns and looks at you, and you're like sitting totally defenseless on the ground. And this thing kind of like chitters up to you, like kind of smashes you in the arm with one of its big kind of pincers. You, Mindy, can't see this because your eyes are closed. But Susie gasps. Before this thing can rear back again, suddenly there's like a burst of like sickening green and red snot that like fly out of this thing's eyes. Because you melted half of its brain.
Yeah.
So this thing's like spasming and twitching and all of that.
Could I take my +1 to harm now also?
Sure.
Getting dangerously close to that death.
Yep. Yeah. So and we'll play that out because that's a hall monitor getting there right in time.
Yes. Hall monitors.
Yeah. Mindy, you kind of return to the conscious plane as Susie Chen is kind of shaking you back into consciousness and popping your shoulder back into socket.
Ugh.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. How often do you just let your guard down like that?
I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it from the inside.
Wow.
Sometimes you have to be vulnerable in a fight in order to do damage.
In a fight. And at that point, she is like slammed into a flagpole and she's like, no, Jesus, and she starts punching. Awesome. Okay. Morgan, you and a cheese devil are entering the fray.
I want to Sonic and Shadow this thing.
Yeah, so sounds good to me.
A Mario and Luigi this thing? I don't know.
Yep. A Helldiver and other Helldiver this thing. Sure. So I'll let this thing just automatically succeed in helping you. You can do, a magical combat roll. You get +1 from the angels, another +1 from the cheese devil.
I want the cheese devil to tackle it and start beating on it. Mm-hmm. And while it's doing that, I want to cook it from underneath.
Oh.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, let's have this be one big attack roll with the cheese devil helping. Let's do this is going to be magical combat, so this is a kick some butt roll with your weird. 2d6 plus weird.
+1 +1.
+1 +1.
That is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 again.
It's this kind of synergistic combat that's really a pleasure to watch. Okay, so base, you're doing 2 harm to it. On a 10+, so base, you're doing 2 harm to it. It's doing 2 harm to you. Or you could do an additional damage to, you can either do 3 harm to it and it does 2 harm to you, or you could do 2 harm to it and it does 1 harm to you.
3-2.
Got it. All right. The cheese devil begins like wildly and horrifyingly ripping at its insides. And wherever
just like real cheese.
It is wreaking havoc on its gastrointestinal system. Like any good cheese. So this thing, there's like a giant like sucking wound in it. You start cooking it from the inside out. The sounds are terrible. The smells, not bad. Back to Mindy. You're badly hurt. It's badly hurt.
True.
Yeah.
When I was inside its mind, mental storming, did I happen to see any fears or anything it considers a particular threat?
Yeah, give me a 2d6 plus weird. This will be a kind of a little retroactive detective work.
Okay. 10. 12.
12. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Do you... Okay, with a 12, you could either essentially attack the fear center of its brain and destroy it. Like, you find a fear and you just feedback loop it. Or you could find out what it fears as a secret.
Oh.
I'll find out what it fears as a secret.
All right.
Maybe it's useful. But either way, my book gets fed, and it's what I'm compelled to do.
These things are animals. You know how, like, birds just kind of know how to build nests? You know, like there's something, it's almost like there's kind of a genetic memory with some animals, like they just know how to build nests, they just naturally do. Baked into its very genetics is a fear of the great big thing. The great big thing made its home. The great big thing must never be seen.
Okay.
The great big thing is the scariest thing in the world.
Well, that's ominous and frightening. It's not, however, useful.
No. So you are aware that there is now something under Boston that this thing calls the great big thing.
Okay. Got it.
That is retroactive. You can still do whatever you want this turn.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just log that away. I'll think about that some other time and get existentially afraid. But for now, I'm going to focus on, I'm going to mental storm again. And here's what I'm realizing is that I'm sitting on the ground and it is looming over me, this enormous creature. I am going to have to get some space on it or it's going to fall on top of me and crush me. So I am going to stand up, turn away from it. Susie's not going to like this. Turn away from it, close my eyes, and start walking / dragging my impaled calf away as fast as I can while trying to mental storm.
Got it. Sounds good. Susie, not as effective as she normally is in hand-to-hand combat, because she seems somewhat distracted for reasons we don't know.
Which I don't see because my eyes are closed.
Nope, your eyes are closed. 2d6 plus weird to mental storm it.
Okay. And do I have any pluses from before? Like I had those
plus 1 for the angels.
Plus
yeah,
1 for the angels. Okay.
Yeah,
the Darby one was just used up. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay. That's with all the pluses, it's going to be an 8.
Okay. Partial success. So, you're going to do 2 harm to it, and your target does double damage to you.
Oh.
Okay. How many? And I can do my full damage, my full 2 damage?
Yep.
Okay. So that is going to take it down.
It's down. You beat it. And it does 4 damage to you.
And I am now 2 past my full limit.
Gotcha. Mindy Mathers is out of the fight. On the partial success, I'll narrate it. So, yeah, Mindy, you kind of scramble backwards. Get up, start kind of walking away, eyes closed. This thing, kind of chittering, writhing mess, kind of rears back and impales you through the back. And sure enough, there's like a spike that fired right through your intestines.
Is that another stat reduction?
No.
Oh,
No. That's only on a
Nice.
failure.
It's just a life reduction.
So,
I'm
you
simply downed by it.
oh, this is interesting because you killed it, but it also downed you. Mm-hmm. What I need to know is if that triggers your consequence, because it happened at the same time. Yeah. I'll decide on that in a bit. But as for now, you just kind of like walk away from it, eyes closed, back to it. The second it kind of spears you through the back, that's when like its mind opens and like you're crushing an overripe peach in your hand, you just destroy its brain.
Yeah.
And the thing just collapses. You know, you kind of open your eyes. Susie Chen is looking at you pale as a ghost. And your last conscious thought before kind of everything shrinks down to black is Susie seems to be getting less good at hiding her emotions. And then you just kind of pass out. Okay. Morgan, you and a cheese devil. It's got a little bit of life left. Give me something good.
I believe it's 1 point left.
I have one or two. I have two.
Oh, okay. Well, the cheese devil can do two, so I'm just gonna allow the cheese devil to beat it up while I continue to torch it until it becomes a big cheesy bake.
Sounds good.
Seafood bake.
For dramatic effect, if you'll indulge me, let's have the cheese devil roll the attack. So give me a 2d6 plus 3 for the cheese devil's kicks and butt, plus 1, because sure enough, there's an angel helping this thing very reluctantly.
That's a 7 plus 3.
Whoa.
That's 10
10
plus 1.
plus 1, 11.
The cheese devil burrows itself into the thorax of this thing, and you fire an ungodly amount of electricity into it. And the last thing through this this stone creature's mind is a bubbling raclette-like cheese filling its sinuses. The cheese devil and the cheese devil and this thing have been destroyed.
Now I feel kind of bad for the cheese
The
devil.
cheese devil sacrificed itself.
Destroyed?
This cheese devil is a stranger on this plane. It doesn't want to be here. All right, I'll put it to you this way, though. Do you want the cheese devil to survive?
No.
Fair. It dies as it lived, screaming and clawing.
Sorry, Zlobs.
The chaotic minutes turn into less chaotic hours as the school and its various factions kind of unite to drive the remainder of these things out. Most have been destroyed. A lot of students get hurt. But your names kind of bubble to the top in terms of your kind of behavior and impressiveness and leadership.
Oh, did someone see me get fully impaled?
A couple people. But yeah, sure enough, the school is rightly returned to into the arms of the surface dwellers. Some hours later, through the crackling staticky overhead speakers. Attention students of Somerville Magnet School. This is Assistant Principal King. Based on damage done to the school, We are going to take tomorrow as a day off from classes. All students are strongly encouraged to come back and aid in the repair efforts. There will be a presentation in the gymnasium in 2 days to commemorate the heroic actions of the students. Until then, we have rebuilding to do. Assistant Principal King, wishing you a good day. Mindy, time for a big roll.
A roll?
Yeah.
I haven't
fair.
been rolling well tonight.
This is just going to be 2d6. On a failure, your consequence gets triggered. On a partial or full, it does not.
Okay. Seven.
Good.
Ooh, what was gonna happen to me?
We'll call it right there. Machete Chef. The sommelier hissed in an accent approaching French. Here to try the Amontillado? The tasting party is over, Machete Chef returned stiffly, drawing her machete. Oh no, this party isn't over until you try my prized vintage. The sommelier chuckled, reaching into a recess within the wall of the wine cave and pulling out a harpoon gun loaded with a large corkscrew. You like it? It's pre-war. The only thing pre-war is this moment, since you and I are about to go to war. Machete Chef fired back before pausing. Pre-war, about to go to war. That's gold. And cut, the director said perfunctorily, as the various stunt people started relaxing in their harnesses, and the camera's red lights switched off. You're making it work, Olivia, but let's wrap for the week. Sounds good. Just tell me if the writers want to sharpen the seams, Olivia said, tossing the machete in the air and catching it very coolly by the blade. Of course, we'll send any new sides over in your absence. See that you do. I'm wrapping. See everybody in a bit. And with that, Somerville High School's most famous alum, former Quincy Quall, former LA Unlimited Taco, and star of the not well-reviewed but incredibly successful Machete Chef movie series, Olivia Late Night, prepares to fly home.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
And we'll call it right there.
How am I going to compete with that?
Meanwhile, in Nashua, New Hampshire. Usually when Darby summons angels, they go away pretty fast. I like when you stick around.
Yeah, I like to do my own thing.
Yeah, well, why did we come to Nashua?
There's something buried up here that I need to find. I left it. I left it to the cook.
Left it? Okay, hot. Okay, let's just clang. Oh, I think I found it. Oh, it's a gold chest. Whoa. Is that Paul Revere's skeleton?
Don't tell anybody.
Your secret's safe with me, Lila.